Hey Jason, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Daniel,
You
how are
good?
you?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Good. Just introduce yourself quickly. What you do here at Swinburne? What subjects you teach?
Yeah, so I'm a senior lecturer at Swinburne University of
Mm.
Technology. So I teach mostly the two investment subjects. One is the management investment portfolio. Another one's alternative investment. So you can see them as one is a bit traditional asset classes. Another one's alternative investments.
Very good. Very good. And so, any hot tips on investments at the moment? Jason?
Not really. Yeah, it's more academic rather than
More than practical, is what you
more
say?
than practical. But well, we do learn a lot of practical stuff.
No, we do.
You have
We
to
do.
join the course.
Yeah, no, that's very
I'm not
good.
gonna tip it off here.
And now I saw recently you posted something on LinkedIn just in regards to the use of AI in finance, but also its role for finance students. I just wanted to have a quick chat in that regards. Now, in that article, you mentioned something like finance industry in particular has a high adoption rate of AI technology, or relatively, let's say, high compared to other industries. So any thoughts on, why that is, why the finance industry might be that way inclined?
Yeah, sure. So I think there are a lot of research at the moment that looking at AI and how that affects the finance industry. I think finance industry is in a way that it's always kind of innovative, right? If you think about a lot of innovation actually happens in the finance industry first because it's an industry that's all about making money. So when it comes to making money,
Right.
you're kind of more likely to try out different innovations, right? That's why I think, when it comes to AI, it naturally, that finance industry is sort of trying to adopt that. And there are a lot of works that, requires that AI capability in finance industry, in particular if you think about financial planning or financial advice, right? So if you think about that, AI can provide a lot of use for contests as well as, providing even very insightful advice as well. And I've seen a lot of studies also looking at how to use AI to predict the market return, which is for a lot of people, that's what they do, right?
Is it good? Is the robots going to win in the investment world? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think it's too early to tell, but there are a lot of studies actually out there trying to argue that AI could potentially win, but at the end of the day, finance industry is about studying human behavior. So even for AI, if you treat it as a very smart person or the smartest person in the world, maybe AI is still also catching up, learning human behavior. So in that sense, it's actually hard to predict what humans going to do, right? It's easier to predict from a physical point of view what the object is going to move next, right? Because it's all dictated by laws. But, human behaviors tend not to, guided by law. So it's a lot of unpredictability sort of in human behaviors.
Because in your article, you're talking about artificial intelligence, but you also use that term co-intelligence. Is that what you're kind of talking about there in the finance industry, that there's this need for co-intelligence?
Yeah, that's right. So I think this term is really coined by Ethan Mollick from Wharton Business School.
You didn't term it?
I didn't.
I thought you coined it. Sorry.
I'm not going to claim that. All right. So he wrote a book called Co-Intelligent, which is a fantastic book to read as well. I think his point, or his main point, is that we should treat AI like a co-intelligent, basically just like a partner to help your work rather than to replace your work. So I think that's a key, fundamental concept we need to grasp when it comes to AI and how that affects the finance industry, right? Sure, it might replace some repetitive sort of, part of the finance. For example, you don't have to memorize everything, right? As a matter of fact, I think, you don't have to memorize a lot of things when we had a Google already. So in that sense, AI is AI has been with us for a long time. I think when it comes to AI as a co-intelligence, it's more important to recognize it as a super sort of assistant, right? So that can help you to make your work better, right? It's not actually doing the work for you, but it's actually making your work better.
Yeah. Okay. And I don't know, like I've seen a lot of the reports out there about AI coming for our jobs and things like that, but And I think in particular for, those that are about to enter into the workforce, especially our students, there might be, some, heightened concern, let's say. What would your recommendation be to, finance students, accounting students, in regards to this new world that maybe they're heading into?
Yeah. So I think there are a lot of disruptions to technologies, right, in the past decades, I would say, right? It's not just AI. There's even, with the internet coming in sort of early 2000, or with the, new iPhones, right? All these have been like disruptive in a way that, we treat that as innovation. And I think this topic has gone back, even 100 years ago when we first had like cars, or, replacing steam trains and all that, right? So there's a constant talks about, technology is going to, take our job. But as a matter of fact, right, if you have seen the history, is that technology not only take away some jobs, but it might actually create more jobs. So I think that's what student needs to bear in mind, is that, at the end of the day, right, you can't change how, this disruptive technology is going to change the world, right? So what you can do is you adapt to that world, and what you can do is actually using your university life to really actually study, the fundamental concepts, and actually sort of, help you to sharp your critical sort of thinking skills, problem solving skills. Because even with AI, the most important skill is still about, coming up with, relevant prompts to, to ask the AI to help you to produce better work, right? You're not going to just, ask AI to do something and then it's going to produce a fantastic job for you, right? Maybe, that's going to be true in a couple of years' time, but it's not now. No one can predict what's going to happen, right? But at the end of the day, what you can do is still kind of sharpen your own skills, so that, you still have that sort of, critical thinking, analysis, evaluation skills, so that, when it comes to the time, you can still kind of adapt to that environment.
Well, so, you're a lecturer, helping students at the moment. What's for that type of future, and building those skills, the critical thinking skills in particular, what kind of things are you doing, or or do you see as the key pieces from an educator point of view in helping our students?
I think from an educator point of view, it's really just getting them prepared, be ready, but also emphasizing the need still to actually have the traditional learning sort of, in place, right? So it's not like, with the AI, so now I'm not going to study because, it's going to replace, all the, traditional study method or whatever, right? So just to give you an example, right? Sure, like, in the past, we've been studying this thing called weighted average cost of capital, something like that, right? So in the past, you might actually have to remember the formula, or you have to sort of, build the spreadsheet yourself and putting all the numbers and things. You have to remember even, how do I actually build the cash flow model, and how do I actually discount them, right? Now, with the age of AI, sure, you can actually ask AI to help you to come up with a template, which is pretty simple. You can also come up with the formula, pretty simple, right? So that's kind of, very simple stuff that AI can replace. And you can even ask AI to, you can maybe feed the data into the model and ask the AI model to help you to, generate the cash flows, generate the predictions or forecasts, and then, generate the discount rate, and then, calculate the NPV or etc. But at the end of the day, right, if you work in the industry, you will see that that's only part of the equation, right? So what people care about is not really that number at the end of the day, which, AI can help you to produce and give you some rationales. But at the end of the day, the key skill in the corporate world, I think, is still able to critically evaluate, why you use that discount rate or weighted average cost of capital, right? Why do you think, the cash flow is going to be like this in the future, right? Why do you think the assumption you put under the cash flow model is valid, right? So people are going to ask all these questions. So it's about, storytelling and able to justify your choices, not really just producing that number, right?
Yeah. Very good. Well, it's an interesting future ahead of us, right? So thanks very much for your time, Jason.
That's
and
right.
look
Thanks,
forward to seeing
Daniel.
you in class.
Yeah, thank you.